Hi there. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to assign primary and secondary operators to a piece of equipment. Now, for a piece of equipment to be correctly used, it should have at least one primary operator. Now, you can have only one primary operator, but you can have multiple secondary operators on each piece of equipment. The first way of assigning operators to a piece of equipment will be simply just right-clicking that piece of equipment. So you right-click, go down to Allocate Primary Operator. You'd select the crew or whatever context menu you've set up. Then this is where you select the role. So we want to add them as a primary operator. And we'll set that as Andy Young. And then we can see that this piece of equipment has an operator of Andy Young. If we were to do a secondary operator, we would follow the same steps. Right click, go down to Allocate Secondary Operator. And depending on how our context menus are set up, we would select through there. This is now selecting a role, so we want to have alternate duties, and click Eric. And then we will see that Eric is now on alternate duties on that piece of equipment. This same technique can also be followed for the equipment in these boxes. So you can right click and then you have the options to allocate the primary and secondary operators as well. Another way of assigning operators can also be done via this People tab over here. So what you would do, you would come in, you would right click on a person, you'll click Allocate to Equipment, you'd then select if they're primary or secondary, you'd then select their role, so we want to make him a supervisor, and then we would select our piece of equipment here. So if we want it for truck 001, we'd select him, and we'll see that that operator will change to Bill Doran. There we go. Now, a third way of assigning operators to a piece of equipment can be done by this People tab over here. And what we would do is we can just drag and drop to that piece of equipment. It then usually pops up a dialog box allowing us to select either one of the primary operator roles or a secondary operator role. Now this can actually be set up to be automatic through the panel properties. So you can get it so you just drag someone across and it can automatically assign them as a primary operator or secondary operator depending on what role you want to choose for them. After we click OK, we will then see that that has changed to the user that we dragged across. Now the fourth option that we have of assigning equipment operators is by using this equipment box, and it's by clicking on the little person icon here. Click on them, and this brings up a section where we can assign a primary operator, and we can select their role as well. And we can also add secondary operators by clicking this tick, selecting the operator and their role as well. We click OK. We'll see that is now changed. Now the last way I will show you of assigning operators to a piece of equipment is through this person allocation window. Once you click on that, you have this section here which has all your people, you have the roles of that person, and then you have your pieces of equipment in a list here. Now the ticks that you can see here show us that that person is already assigned to a piece of equipment. And you can see in the equipment list that it actually tells you who is assigned to that. Now the one at the top, if it's green with a green person icon, that means they're the primary operator, and everybody underneath will be a secondary operator. Now say we want to assign someone like Brian here to a piece of equipment, we will then select Brian, we will choose his role, and then what we can do is we can then drag and drop him into that piece of equipment. That will then assign him to a piece of equipment, and if we want to do a secondary operator, we would choose a role under secondary, and then we would just drag them down. There we go, and you can see Nicole down there. So we want to do another one. This time crew assisting. Drag him down. And you can see both our primary and two secondary operators there.